He was brilliant. He was kind. He had a weird sense of humour. He liked to play jokes, but he would have done anything for anybody. He liked football, and he had a lot of talent, and he was going places till he found girls and cigarettes and apparently drink at a party. So he was a good lad. He was very protective, you know, and he's got a brother and a sister younger than him, and he was there for them, and he taught them a lot of values, and he was there for me. If there was any parties, he loved George Michael and Madonna, and if I'm Your Man came on, he would always get me up to dance. And then when he was 21, by then he was clearly going to marry the person he married, and he just said, I think it's time I started dancing with her to this. So I got binned. Very family orientated, and he took great pride in having a decent car, and even though it was only a little street house, he was very proud of the fact that he'd bought his own house, and that he'd never been on the dole. He was very proud of that. He was a really hard worker, and just loved the fact that he became a dad. Even though he was only 20, he just loved the fact that he was a dad, and that was his world. That was his world. Then British Steel closed down the first time, and most of them went on the dole until they found another job, and Jay wouldn't, because he just didn't like the thought of being on the dole. So when he got offered the chance to clean up the coke ovens, even though his dad, who'd worked at British Steel since he left school at 15, had said, please don't go that, it's hell, you know, it's literally hell. And he was like, I can't, I've got a mortgage and 3 children and I need to work. After the night shift, he would maybe have a can, you know, to help him go to sleep. Yeah, and that's when we now believe his demons started. His fight with himself started. Because he was there quite a while, and after seeing some of the videos he showed us, you know, it was like something off a movie. Yeah, he started to change then, and things within his situation seemed to get worse. We were saying to him, you know, maybe you should ask the doctor and for help, and then we started to realise he had problems from things that had happened as a child, and he started to ask for help, and we now know that he got the wrong advice, which again went on to lead to other issues that became ongoing, and that was when the depression sort of set in. And you know, although he was on antidepressants for 5 years, he was still drinking to just take it all away. He just self-medicated when we look back now. He asked for support himself before he got to this stage. And one time he started on a course and the funding ended halfway through, and if he'd lived in Redcar he would have been able to qualify for that, and he didn't. Then there was another time that he asked again, and he said, look, I think I need, because my daughter by this time had become a psychologist, and she said, you don't need a counsellor, you need a psychologist. So he got sent to somewhere in Stockton, and he said he was ready to open up. And they said because he was working he had to pay privately, and he just said, Mum, I can't pay £45 an hour, I've got a family, you know. So he stopped going. He was sort of drinking in pubs on his own, but reading a paper. And but then it got that he'd just buy a bottle and just lock himself in the bedroom and not talk to anybody, and that became, you know, a ridiculous situation. So then I ended up taking him home with me, but I asked MRT, I phoned MRT, tried to get him into there. The doctor said, we've just about to close. I said, I've finally got him in the car, please see him, he's really vulnerable. We're just about to close, send me to MRT. I phoned them, we're just about to close. Please somebody see me, because I've got my son here, and they couldn't. They said, we'll see you tomorrow. Crisis team said the same, we can't, he's had a drink. I ended up taking him home, and I had to sit with him all night. It was just seeing the change in him that was the hardest. You know, I was watching him deteriorate before my eyes, really, And I phoned everybody. I'd phoned the crisis team, MRT, the doctors. I'd go on the internet and research what was going on to see if I could get answers. I pestered everybody, honestly. People absolutely dreaded hearing my name in the end because I was constantly on the phone. The only way he would answer the door if somebody threatened the police, because he knew, because by then he'd already been sectioned twice. And the ward they put him on was horrendous. You know, it was somebody with depression shouldn't be on a ward with such severity. People scratching themselves till the blood and drawn with it, and I mean, God, that's a whole story in itself. But by then he'd been told by the psychiatrist at Lakeside that he wasn't depressed. He wasn't clinically depressed, or he wouldn't have been able to go to his sister's baby's christening. But it took so much strength, and he didn't want to let her or the children down, so he made it very, very vulnerable that day, very shaky and everything, but we managed it. But that ended up going against him, and she said, well, if he's gone to that, he wouldn't be able to go. And that's when they decided after that he wasn't engaging enough, so they were closing the books on him. And that had a big impact on his... I watched him in front of this psychiatrist just sink. And the shame again on his face was unbelievable. Eventually I wrote to the Prime Minister. I wrote to people I just don't even know if I wrote to until I was trying to look at notes today. I wrote to the Chief Executive of Mental Health. I never even got a reply. I rang the secretary. She put me on to PALS. They told me to make a complaint. I said I haven't got the energy for that. I'm still trying to keep my son alive, but I will do if the worst happens, because by then I had an idea where we were heading. I arranged to go and see my younger son in Rome for Christmas, and I'd never normally cried in front of Jay. I was always trying to be strong for him, and I just said, you know, I broke down one day and I just said, I'm going to manage Christmas when I'm worried about you here. And he said, come here, Mum, I'll give you a cuddle. And he gave me a cuddle and he said, you have to just go and enjoy yourself, you deserve it. And I went to the doctor's the next morning and I started crying in front of her again. And I said, he's turning a strange colour. I said, he's going like a cream colour. I just know he's not very well. And, you know, please just go and see him and do a blood test. And she said, there's nothing we can do because he won't ask. And I said, but he's not going to ask, he's depressed and he thinks he doesn't deserve it and he's on self-destruct. And she said, there's nothing we can do, I'm sorry. I came back on the 28th and Jack and Georgia, his children, wanted to come with me, which I didn't want because I had a feeling he wasn't very well. And when we were hammering on the door, he wasn't answering and the telly was flashing, you know, and I thought there's something not right in there. So I phoned an ambulance. I thought, I don't care if I'm not supposed to do this, because I was always thinking about the services and the money it was costing them, you know. And then he said, Jack said, Nana, he's here, he's in his vest and top, which is unusual. But he's staggering, he's drunk. And I was so shocked by this, because like I said, we'd never seen him drunk for a long time. And I was like, oh God, you're joking. And then he just down, and Jack screamed, running around the house and beat the door in. And he'd gone in, he'd just collapsed in the passage. In the emergency place where we were, he just said to me, I thought he was going to shout at me for getting him in, and he just said, Mum, I'm so sorry. And I said, I don't need you to be sorry, I just want you to get well. I said, that's all I want. And he just said, I love you. And I said, no, and I love you too, and I'm going to see you in the morning because they're making us go home now. I said, so get a good night's sleep and do what they ask you, and we'll see you in the morning. But they put him in a coma overnight for his own body to repair, but it didn't work. On the 4th of January, they turned the machines off. To sit and watch my grandchildren absolutely in bits, asking why, you know, why something couldn't be done.
And as I said to Heather when I first met her, because Heather was very kind to be the first person to really give me a voice at a meeting when I told her he was in hospital. When I came back from Italy, I was told about the CCG. I'd never heard of them before. And she was very kind to say, we'll organise a meeting after Christmas. But like I said, by then he'd died. And I said to her, you know, I've always wanted to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I work very hard in the community to try and make sure people don't get to the stage where my son was, you know, and to look at their emotional issues and the childhood problems before they get to the stage. Because a lot of people are self-medicating in our area. I'd like the whole system to realise there's a person, not just a name. That's why I bring the photographs in. He's, you know, he's a human being who's got an extended family, who he loved and who loved him. And they've got such a small window when you see you, and they've got such a busy schedule that they're not seeing that there's more to that person than what's written down. He's an alcoholic or he's depressed. You know, there's more to it than that, and that society as a whole, that's got to change, I think. And like I said, the stigma alone is hard. But I'd like to see more help, more prevention strategies rather than wait until people are in Jay's situation before they try and get you better.